Welcome, Makka.
Thank
So, would you mind telling us about yourself? What do you do?
you. It happens all the time. Like I can never tell who I am. So maybe we'll just stick with.
The first three things that you do.
I run the Accra Goods Market,
Mm-hmm.
and then I work in advertising. So I'm more of a brand and marcoms professional.
Okay.
So those are basically
So,
with a focus on digital marketing.
okay.
Yeah.
So you're like the Ghanaian modern day Don Draper.
That's far-fetched. I wouldn't like to think of myself as a Don Draper. No, yeah.
Really? Why not?
I'm a madman. I mean, yes, I work in advertising, but like Don's like he's up there.
Okay.
You know, so we aspire to be like Don, but
Yes.
yeah, no, definitely not a Don yet, but
Okay.
hopefully soon. Hopefully.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's nice. So you started at Accra Goods Market. The first date was March 2015.
Yes, 6 March.
6 March.
To be specific, yes. Yes.
That's like 6 years ago.
Absolutely. Yes, spot on.
So what was the thought process behind Accra Goods Market?
So it's just been so I went to school in London, then I went to school in Cape Town as well. And I mean they have a lot of open air markets situated around the cities, and when I came back to Ghana, it was one of those nostalgic moments that got me to thinking, look, this is something that we could easily put together.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it all started because I was missing a market that I used to attend.
Which one, if you don't mind me asking?
So in Cape Town, there was a Neighbour Goods Market.
Okay.
One of the best ones I've ever been to.
Mm.
There are a number of markets in the UK as well. There are a few in Dalston and Lewisham. And it's primarily focused on food and fashion. And so fusing food and fashion and music for me in Ghana was like the key to getting it all underway.
So you put those three ideas together,
Yes.
and then you said to yourself one bright sunny afternoon,
Yes.
why don't I start a trade show or a fair?
Exactly. So I used to work for a telco at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was literally sat at my desk, and I thought, I can easily do this. It was just one of those light bulb moments. This is something I'm familiar with. This is something I enjoy attending. It would be good to bring that experience here as well. And it would be good to share that feeling of enjoying like good company, good food, homemade recipes with random strangers.
All right. So what inspired the name Accra Goods Market? Because it has, let's say, it has an unconventional name, Accra Goods Market, and it's broad. When you say Accra Goods Market, so you actually attend one, you don't really know what to expect.
Exactly.
What inspired the name Accra Goods Market?
So again, the market in Cape Town was a Neighbour Goods Market. So then I thought, the Accra Goods Market. So essentially, so the definition of goods will be anything from your fashion, from your clothing items, from apparel through to accessories, through to design goods like candles and diffusers and the like. So I literally needed an umbrella name that covers everything. And I didn't want a trade fair. I mean, a trade fair sounded so boring and so old school. I wanted something refreshing, something that got you thinking, wondering what could possibly be there. And that's actually where, because a lot of people will refer and say, what do you do? You know, what's the Accra Goods Market? And then it gives me an opportunity to talk about what we do, to be able to have a conversation. And once I have a conversation, then you remember who we are, what we do, what we stand for, and then it piques your interest. You know, so that's one of my go-to strategies. You know, starting a conversation, getting people talking, and then you become top of mind for them. They would always remember that one conversation they had with you, how you came up with the idea, and how you've ended up where you are.
So it started from an idea,
Yes.
and then execution.
Exactly.
That's what I like, because in business, I mean, I work as a consultant, I sit on
Yes.
a bunch of boards.
Yes.
It's one thing to take an idea and then to execute it. Most ideas never go past ideation stage.
Yes.
It always stays in somebody's book or journal.
Yes.
How did you go about executing the Accra Goods Market, turning from an idea into an actual physical entity?
So, I mean, look, to be honest, it took me a while. I'd been toying with the idea for years. I mean, I came back to Ghana in 2012.
Okay.
I didn't start the market until 2015. So obviously, a
took
whole
3
3
years.
years, exactly. You know, and I needed to think through the whole process. How do I create enough awareness? How do I maintain the awareness? How do I sustain the awareness? How do I turn that awareness into actual affirmation for the product that I was offering? You know, so, and then I also had to think about what's happened in the past. I mean, the idea of a pop-up is not new. I mean, anybody who's above 25 will know about the Ghana Trade Fair. It was the biggest pop-up fair at the time, you know, but then I'd lost its essence. I mean, I don't know anybody who was going to a fair organized along those lines to shop or to buy anything. I needed to create a fusion of lifestyle as well as an experience. And that's how I ended up bringing it all together. So essentially changing how you view a pop-up and making it into a lifestyle option for you.
Okay.
So that it's no longer an event that you just get up and go to. It becomes a way of life. It becomes something that you look forward to. It becomes something that you want to be associated with.
So for those watching who may perhaps have an idea, don't
Yes.
know how to jump from ideation to execution,
Yes.
what would you tell them? Did you go through the business plan route? Was there a checklist? Did you do your SWOT analysis?
Yes.
How did you, what exactly did you do? If you don't mind giving us
You know, essentially, you need to figure out what your, and I'm happy that you mentioned the SWOT analysis, because you wouldn't assume that a market will require SWOT analysis, because you're thinking it's literally just getting a bunch
space, get a bunch of people,
Exactly.
print, flyers.
Exactly, but you see, you need to think about why all the pre-pop-ups died, and why they couldn't sustain them, because they were essentially the same thing. There was no differentiation, so you knew what to expect already, and you. I mean, if you missed it, you hadn't missed much, because you knew what it was going to be. There were going to be a bunch of traders. People will buy and sell, it ends, and then they move on. You know, so basically, for me, again, figuring out what the loopholes are. How do I sustain interest in something that doesn't change in 4 months? Because essentially, the market is bringing together a number of vendors, right?
Yes.
There's nothing different to a trade show. It's the same thing.
So,
but then how do I keep you interested? So essentially we started adding things like maybe like a live band performing. We started collaborating with brands.
okay. Before we get to
Yes.
that, what was your first experience when the first one took off in 2015?
So
Wait, hold on. Two words. Overwhelmed or underwhelmed? Pick one.
overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed.
Totally overwhelmed.
First one, you were
Very
overwhelmed.
first one.
How many
And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
So you're literally phoning everyone and you're saying, look, I'm hosting a pop-up. I want you to be there. We were phoning all these lovely brands.
So, first thing
Yes.
you did for advertisement was word of mouth.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, no, but then again, my background is digital marketing.
Yeah.
So I was heavy on digital.
And social media.
Exactly. So that's the thing. We don't do any newspaper, radio, or traditional advertising.
print.
All of it is digital, social media, Facebook, Instagram,
And then word of
Twitter,
mouth.
and word of mouth.
That's
Right?
the best, isn't it?
That's the best one. So basically, this is us phoning people and saying, look, we've got an event coming up. We'd like you to be a part of it. And the first question they ask you is like, you've never done this before.
So did you ask the participants or the vendors?
So this is the vendors.
The vendors, okay.
Yeah. So basically, I need to come up with a list of potential vendors that would attract people like you to attend, right? And the first question to me is, we've not done this before. How do I know it's going to be a success? So look, everyone, literally all the big brands that I wanted. And even when I say, I'm not talking about like super big brands. I'm talking about brands that were doing well in this space and everybody knew who they were. And so I was trying to leverage on their following to be able to put the market together. But I think about 80% of them were not interested because they had never seen anything like that before. So all the traders that we got for the first market were literally like friends and family.
Okay.
Probably only maybe 3 or 4 new traders were in there, but like the majority of them were people that we knew. You know.
So you did mention you were overwhelmed.
Yes.
Was it the vendor participation or the crowd?
So literally, I mean, the event started at 10 in the morning. It was quiet. It was regular up until about 2 o'clock. And then there was like an influx of people. Like I'd never seen that many people in my life.
How many people would you guess?
Look, the venue was probably maybe a venue that can host maybe say 400 people standing, and the place was full. Like, it was packed. It was one of those things where everybody started wondering, like, what just happened? You know, like in an hour, everything had changed. The place was filled to the brim. People were having a good time, and I think that for me re-emphasized the fact that this was going to work.
Yes.
You know, so obviously from there, then we moved to a bigger venue. But essentially, at that point, when I saw all of the people, I knew that this was it.
So how many vendors would you guess? I mean, it happened.
So we started. We had about between 15 and 20.
15.
Very small, yes.
Yes, that is small.
Very
But
small.
15
yes.
and 20, and
Yes.
the crowd was about.
Say about 400.
Wow.
It was one of those things where food ran out so quickly,
Yeah.
and then now people were like disappointed because they hadn't anticipated
Yeah.
that a lot more people would turn up. But I mean, obviously, it was our first one. You had to be cautious.
So after your first big hit,
Yes.
when was the second one, if you remember?
So literally I think in May. So we target all the public holidays.
Okay.
So I think that the next one probably was in May. AU Day at the time was a holiday. So the next one was in May. We had to move location. So then we moved from the very initial.
You have to mention the location.
Yes. I mean, we had to move from there to like another one. And that was like twice the size.
Coded location.
No, but like coded in the very sense. Because a lot of people did not even know where that was.
Yes, that's true.
And I remember one time we were having a market, then someone was on the phone to his friends and he was like, look, I'm at this market. And the location is so coded that if you don't know where it is, you won't even be able to attend. And that got me thinking, am I creating a cult, like, what's the word? Like a community?
No, but that's what businesses do. I mean, every business is not for everybody. You need to find your tribe who align with your values.
Yes.
So that you're willing to participate and believe in your
But you see, that was also a bit of a worry for me because then I didn't want to be too exclusive.
Yes.
So I mean, I wanted to be, and I mean, I say this all the time. We're a bougie market. Like I'm not afraid to say that.
Yes.
We're like a bougie market. We're like an upscale market.
You do look upscale. I mean, I can't help it. You're wearing what?
That's rude.
No, you're wearing.
Nobody said that. Yeah, but don't let my glasses fool you. Like I don't consider myself as smart.
Well, it takes a smart person to pull what you've done with the Accra Goods Market off. I mean, we've seen it start from something small,
right,
to it becoming a staple,
right,
in many calendars of Ghanaians coming up.
Absolutely.
And I've seen a lot of businesses
yes
climb through the ranks.
Yes.
Who first started shadow testing at Accra Goods Market.
True.
I wouldn't want to mention names, but most of these, for example, cafe industries, most of these cafe and hospitality businesses started from Accra Goods Market.
Yes, yes.
So, for you, what particular business or product or service stands out most?
It's a bit difficult to pinpoint one, but then I'll share like a case study of one of us small businesses that came to the market. So they're like a fashion brand. They import and sell fashion items. Mm-hmm. The very first market was one of our very first night market. So we used to switch between a day market and a night market. So,
but the ones that I have attended start from day and run into the night.
Yes. So a night market literally will start in the evening from about 5 p.m. and last until 10 p.m.
Yeah.
So it's usually smaller. So you'd have maybe less the number of traders that attend a day one, for example. So she literally came through. She had an amazing time. Then we also started testing a pop-up shop. So a physical store that we rent in a mall, for example, and then would have all these brands stock their items in there. So she decided to stock in the shop. And she was literally making about 10,000 C's every month in sales. And then she grew so big that we literally, the shop was full of only her stuff. She's moved on now into her own shop, and she's got like twice the space, so she's got double the space. And that for me is just testament to the fact that, look, the support that we provide for small businesses, it works. Basically, my intention for setting up the markets has seen that scaling of another business to the point where they become so big. And I sit back and I look at them and I'm like, look, this is so ridiculous because it was just a table and it's transformed into a brick and mortar store.
Yes.
That's literally generating revenue, and she's employed other people. So that for me is satisfaction. Because I didn't envisage that happening. I mean, obviously, I'm setting up a market. I make a bit of money. You also make a bit of money, but I didn't think that it was going to reinforce a business idea for someone.
So from what you're saying,
Yes.
for me, looking on from the sidelines,
Yes.
you've become more or less like a small business incubator.
Exactly.
So do you give any training to the vendors who come through Accra Goods Markets?
So I also do offer some form of mentorship for some of my traders. So there's another lady who had a hair business. So she had not a hair business. She had a hair bonnet business. She used the market as like as a testing ground.
Yes.
To sample the product, get people interested in what she had to offer. And I think that she's done pretty amazing for herself. So we do that. We try to give them as much support as possible. How do I get you to put your products out there? I personally have like a chat with them, what to do on market days, what not to do, how to grow your business from a small online community to like a big e-commerce platform, for example.
Yes.
And that's one of the things that we're
Do you
toying
provide
with.
any
Yes.
e-commerce platforms?
Not currently, but we partner with brands that provide e-commerce solutions. So basically, if you're like an Accra Goods Market vendor, for example, you can stock on some partner websites. But that's something that we're looking at as well. We've toyed with that idea a few times. Basically, we want to provide an end-to-end solution. So we give you an offline service, and then we give you an online service as well. So offline, during the market days, you can sell at the pop-up events.
Yeah.
And then online, we would want to have a storefront where all these brands can stock their items as well.
So you did mention that the first Accra Goods Market
Yes.
was significant for you because
Yes.
it exceeded your expectations.
Absolutely.
And overwhelmed you.
Absolutely.
But throughout its 5-year lifespan,
Yes.
what has been the most prominent highlight for you?
I think also the kind of brands that we've partnered and how we've been able to position the market to offer value to brands, right? We've done some work with Vodafone Cash,
Yes.
and I think that was primarily our biggest market. I mean, we hosted 150 traders. There were well over 5,000 people in attendance. I remember that was a turning point for who we were as a brand. I remember companies phoning and saying, how did you get all those people to attend your event?
I mean, one demarcated venue.
Yes.
That's no small feat in itself.
Yes.
Because to have 5,000 people walk
Yes.
in and out, and it could even be more.
Yes.
Because what we're doing here is we're guesstimating numbers.
Absolutely. Because we don't count.
Yes,
we
we
don't
don't
have a way
count
of measuring. Yes.
of measure.
Yes.
But to just guesstimate the crowd, that's 5,000.
Yes.
So it could
Yes.
even be more than that.
Possibly.
Because, for
Yes.
example, imagine if people come in families.
Exactly.
Which I've been to the market with my family.
Yes. Yes.
We're a family of 3.
Yes.
So if everybody comes in, well, at least 3 more other attendants or
Yes.
participants.
Yes.
It could easily be around 6,000 or 7,000.
Very likely. Yes.
That's no
Yes.
small feat.